So what about the introduction? Why are we here? What's risky business about? For me, my first contact with risky business came some years ago when I was invited by Alan to go to one of the risky business meetings in London. And I was totally blown away because most of the medical meetings that I go to are very medically inclined. We talk about the things that we do every day. We talk about the things that we know about, and there's a little bit of science and stuff there. But we don't talk about the things that actually give us grief every day, the things that go wrong, the fights that happen, the mistakes we make ourselves, the terrible things that happen to each other as we work and as we do things. And I was further blown away because I suddenly discovered that there were astronauts, actors, broadcasters, dancers, airline people, people from all sorts of disciplines and parts of life who'd thought about these things, who'd actually found ways of mitigating risk, of thinking about things differently, of living in dangerous situations and doing it safely, and thinking about things like resilience and performance and stopping burnout, and thinking about systems that don't destroy people, that don't react to errors and adverse events by blaming people and striking them off the register and doing all the terrible things that we do to each other in the medical profession. And so it was on the basis of that I kind of joined in that bandwagon, and we've subsequently run 2 risky business meetings down in Cape Town. The meetings have continued in London, in Toronto, in Boston, across the world. And the meetings have been standalone. The meetings have been in the context of other congresses ranging from critical care, anesthesia, many other areas like that. And that's something about the whole risky profile. And I think as you look at the program for the rest of today and tomorrow, you'll see that there's a whole set of amazing speakers talking about things that are intensely relevant to us in medical practice, but which we have very poor perspectives on. And I hope that many of you are able to stay and enjoy that. But what also developed was that because Alan Goldman, together with Guy Hurst and Richard Giddings, who were the people who set this up, I think because of Alan's connections to pediatrics, Great Ormond Street and the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit, they started adding on a pediatric day or pediatric morning onto that program to try and actually get the pediatric community together and start saying, well, let's be specific about those issues in our community, in our workplace. And it's unbelievably pertinent because there are probably more adverse events in pediatrics than there are in any of the other disciplines, because we have to calculate every single drug dose that we give, because many of the conditions are rare, because there's a huge emotional overload in much of the work that we do. Whether we deny it or not, it's there. And so what has happened is that in the different centers that run risky, we've started bringing together people with a pediatric interest to say, let's talk about what's happening in the pediatric community as a view of risky business. And that's what brings us here. It's Mignon McCulloch who's really pulled the whole thing together, made it happen together with Debbie Rourke and her team, with immense support from MPS, from Discovery, and from a whole bunch of people who've come into it. So that's the introduction. And now I think let's get on with the business of risky. And so